Commander Vela of the Craxian Imperial Fleet stood at attention in the briefing hall, her scaled arms crossed behind her rigid spine. The purple luminescence of the room cast sharp shadows across her angular features as she waited for the announcement of her new tactical officer. 3 cycles of distinguished service had earned her command of the strike vessel Dominion, and she expected nothing less than excellence from her crew. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a face that made her inner eyelids snap shut in disbelief. A human, not just any human, but one who looked barely past his 20th solar rotation. His designation read simply, Lieutenant Marcus Webb. "This is unacceptable," Vela growled to Admiral Thorne, her superior. "Humans are support staff at best. They lack the neural processing speed, the muscular density, the centuries of tactical tradition that make a proper officer." Admiral Thorne's expression remained neutral. Lieutenant Webb graduated top of his class at the Interspecies Military Academy. His scores in theoretical combat scenarios exceeded even Craxian benchmarks. Theoretical. Vela's voice dripped with scorn. When plasma fire tears through hull plating, theories become ash. Yet orders were orders. When Marcus Webb materialized on the transport pad the following morning, Vela barely glanced at him. He stood at regulation height for his species, which meant he reached only to her shoulder. His uniform was crisp, his salute precise, but she saw only weakness wrapped in protocol. "Lieutenant," she acknowledged coldly, "your station is Tactical Bay 3. Do not expect preferential treatment because your species is new to military service." "Understood, Commander," Marcus replied, his voice steady and unremarkable. The first week confirmed every prejudice Vela harbored. Marcus moved through the ship with quiet efficiency, speaking little, attracting no attention. During combat drills, he input his calculations with the slow, methodical pace of a human working against biological limitations. Other crew members began to echo their commander's dismissiveness. The Craxian gunnery chief openly laughed when Marcus suggested a modified firing pattern. The Vultan navigator simply ignored his tactical recommendations. Vela watched this treatment with satisfaction. Perhaps the human would request a transfer, saving her the embarrassment of formally removing him. The Dominion's mission was straightforward. Patrol the frontier rift, a region where pirate coalitions had been harassing supply convoys. For 2 weeks, they encountered nothing but empty space and false sensor echoes. Vela found herself growing complacent, which was precisely when the universe decided to test her. "Commander, multiple contacts emerging from subspace," the sensor operator announced, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Configuration matches Ravager-class assault frigates. Count is 7 vessels." Vela's blood chilled. Ravager frigates were built by the Dross Collective, a criminal empire known for incorporating salvaged military technology into their warships. 7 of them could potentially overwhelm a single strike vessel, even one as well armed as the Dominion. Battle stations. Helm, evasive pattern Theta 9. Weapons. Prepare all forward batteries. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as crew members rushed to their positions. The Dominion's shields flared to life as the first volley of enemy fire lanced across the darkness. The ship shuddered under the impact. "Return fire," Vela commanded. "Focus on the lead vessel." The tactical displays showed a confusing dance of trajectories. The Ravagers were moving in a synchronized pattern, their formation designed to create overlapping fields of fire while minimizing exposure. Each time the Dominion targeted one ship, the others would shift to cover it. "Commander, their coordination is unusual," the Vultan navigator noted. "This is beyond standard pirate tactics." Marcus spoke from his station, his voice cutting through the tension. "Permission to speak, Commander." Vela barely spared him a glance. "Make it quick, Lieutenant. Their formation has a weakness. The synchronization creates predictable intervals, where specific vessels must maintain fixed positions to preserve the pattern. If we time our fire to those intervals, we can strike before they compensate. We are already targeting their lead ship, Vela snapped. Focus on your assigned tasks. Another salvo hammered the Dominion. Warning indicators blazed across multiple consoles. The engineering officer reported shield degradation in sections 4 through 7. They were losing this engagement. Marcus tried again. Commander, their pattern repeats every 43 seconds. I can feed targeting solutions to weapons if you authorize interface protocols. Absolutely not. I will not entrust our tactical systems to untested human guesswork. Vela turned to her gunnery chief. Concentrate fire on any vessel that breaks formation. But none did. The Ravagers maintained their deadly dance, and the Dominion's shields continued to fail. Vela felt cold realization settling into her bones. At this rate, they had perhaps 5 minutes before hull breaches became catastrophic. The human lieutenant stood from his station. Commander Vela, I respectfully request permission to demonstrate my tactical assessment. Something in his tone made her pause. It was not pleading. It was not desperate. It was simply confident, as though he already knew the outcome of his proposal. You have 30 seconds to convince me, Lieutenant. Marcus moved to the central holographic display, his fingers dancing across the interface with surprising speed. The tactical projection reformed, showing not just the current positions of all vessels, but their projected locations across the next 2 minutes. Lines of probability branched and converged, creating a web of potential futures. Here, Marcus indicated a point in space that would align in 43 seconds. If we fire a full spread of torpedoes at this precise coordinate, the lead Ravager must either break formation or maintain position and take the hit. If they break, the whole formation collapses and we can engage them individually. If they maintain, we disable their flagship and the others lose coordination. Vela studied the projection. Her tactical training screamed that this was too simple, too clean. Yet the mathematics were sound. The timing was precise. And they were running out of options. Gunnery Chief, load torpedo tubes 1 through 6. Prepare to fire on Lieutenant Webb's coordinates. The Craxian Gunnery Chief's scales flared with indignation, but he complied. The countdown began. Marcus fed the targeting data directly to the weapon systems, his movements becoming a blur that defied human physiology. Vela watched with growing astonishment as his fingers moved faster than she could track, making micro-adjustments to account for drift, shield fluctuations, and probability variations. 10 seconds, Marcus announced. 9, 8. The Ravagers continued their pattern, oblivious to the trap being prepared. 3, 2, 1, fire. 6 torpedoes erupted from the Dominion's launch tubes, converging on empty space. For a heartbeat, Vela thought she had made a catastrophic error. Then the lead Ravager emerged into exactly that position, precisely as Marcus had predicted. The vessel's captain had a fraction of a second to decide. Breaking formation would expose their tactical pattern. Maintaining position meant certain destruction. They chose formation integrity. All 6 torpedoes impacted simultaneously. The lead Ravager's shields collapsed, and secondary explosions rippled across its hull. The vessel went dark, tumbling out of formation. The remaining 6 Ravagers immediately broke their synchronized pattern, each captain reverting to individual defensive protocols. The unified threat dissolved into chaos. All batteries, fire at will, Vela commanded. Target ships as they present opportunities. The Dominion's weapons tore into the disorganized pirate formation. Within 3 minutes, 2 more Ravagers were disabled, and the remaining 4 were fleeing into subspace, abandoning their wounded. Silence descended on the bridge. Every crew member stared at Marcus Webb, who had returned to his station as though nothing remarkable had occurred. Vela approached him slowly. Lieutenant, that speed, those calculations, how? Marcus met her gaze steadily. Humans have limitations, Commander. We are physically weaker, slower, less durable than most spacefaring species. But we adapt. Some of us possess enhanced neural processing capabilities that remain latent until activated by stress or necessity. My particular adaptation allows accelerated pattern recognition and probability calculation. I did not mention it during assignment because I have learned that most commanders prefer to discover capabilities through demonstration rather than claims. Vela felt something unfamiliar settling into her chest. Shame, perhaps. Or respect earned too late. You saved this ship, Lieutenant. You saved this crew. She paused, forcing the next words out. I was wrong about you. About your species. I judged without knowledge, and that judgment nearly cost us everything. Marcus inclined his head slightly. We all carry prejudices, Commander. The measure of character is whether we can recognize and overcome them. In the days that followed, the Dominion's crew dynamics shifted. The gunnery chief apologized publicly and requested Marcus's input on firing solutions. The Voltan navigator began consulting him on tactical approaches. Word spread through the fleet about the human officer whose hidden abilities had turned defeat into victory. Vela submitted her official report to Admiral Thorne, recommending Marcus for commendation and noting that assumptions about species capabilities